Welcome back to the Bluegrass on this beautiful January afternoon. Today we are talking about Ruby, a scared little Goldendoodle, and what we're doing to help her gain confidence and help her learn to be a good citizen, you know, when people come over to her house or her mom takes her out on her walks. Now, we have our usual cast of characters. We have a bunch of black labs, but we also have a poodle today, if you can see that in the background. And we have a German Shorthair Pointer and a Silver Labrador. So we got a kind of a wide group of dogs, and what's important to understand is that as you're watching this video, you're going to notice a distinct difference between this dog's reaction to novel stimulation and the other dogs. This dog's confidence level is really, really low, and how that manifests itself is she gets scared and she barks and snaps at people. Okay, so we have a dog that's scared, and like she tries to protect herself by barking and making people leave her alone, and if the barking doesn't work, then she snaps at them, and from her perspective, she's just trying not to get killed, right? And so our job is to help her understand that nobody's trying to kill her, nobody's after her. None of the dogs that she meets in the world are after her, and none of the people that she meets in the world are after her. This dog lives in a nice neighborhood. There aren't very many evildoers where she lives. But she's firmly convinced that everybody that doesn't live in her house full time is an evildoer. Okay, so you go, well, Stoney, what are you going to do with this little dog? Because it's obvious, you can see you're kind of trying to get away already. I'm going to do the same thing with this little dog that I do with all the dogs, because I run a system here. And, you know, I just have some principles that I always employ. Number one, I believe there's an inverse relationship between exercise and anxiety. More exercise, less anxiety. When I get the dog to where she's not in an anxious state, hey, nerds. When I get this dog to where she's not in an anxious state, then that makes it easy to socialize her, right? So we exercise and we socialize, then we teach a common vocabulary, brush up on their physical skills, and then we go out in the world and we do some real learning by doing, okay? So I'm gonna walk her on the course. Okay, guys. And as I'm walking her on the course, what you're gonna notice is that consistently she gets nervous and tries to dart away, okay? Now, I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. I'm not going to fuss at her. I'm not going to placate her. I'm just going to keep walking, and I'm going to show her that even, come on, nerds, even when she's nervous, even when there's a lot of rambunctious dogs around, that like she can keep plugging away and everything's going to work out fine. Okay, so I might get up here and, here dogs, come on, come on. Call some dogs up here, give her some treats. And what I'm trying to make Ruby understand is that there's going to be times in life when she goes to carpool line or she goes to the soccer game where people are in her space, you know. And when she first got here, if you got in her space, she freaked out and starts shaking and snapping at you. And, you know, what we're doing is we're just desensitizing her by having dogs get in her space all the time, having lots of people walk her, having lots of people pet her, right? And then we're trying to make her understand that every so often, like when she's in these situations, there's a chance for her to win a physical manifestation of my pleasure, right? So that's a little idea right there. She won, and here's a physical manifestation of my pleasure. Here's a reward, right? So exercise decreases anxiety, right? Okay, and then just the sheer volume of interaction desensitizes the dog to being around the other dogs, okay? The conquering of the physical activities on my small challenges course builds success, builds confidence through success. Guys, if you ever know somebody that needs their confidence built, then really all you have to do is help them engage in a series of activities where they conquer seemingly challenging impediments in the environment, right? So when we first started trying to walk this dog on the leash, she couldn't walk on the leash. She couldn't climb up here on any of this equipment. And like when I would try to get her to, she would just set her haunches down, pull on the leash, and if I reached my hand anywhere near her, she would snap at me, trying to get me to go away. Now, was she being aggressive? Well, I mean, she was aggressively trying to keep me from killing her, from her perspective, right? You know. So, but what was really going on there is she really just gets scared easy, right? And a big mistake that people make when they have dogs that get scared easy and either make threat displays or actually engage in violence is they either like harshly correct the dog or they placate the dog. And what I try to do is I just try to keep plugging away and show her that threat displays and violence of action have no place in influencing my behavior, you know. And so as you'll notice, I'm just kind of walking around here. Every so often, I'll have a dog come up, get close to her, and I'll give that dog a treat. Okay, I want her to see me interacting with these other dogs, right? And then as I interact with those other dogs, when she's more calm, attentive, and polite, I reward her. Let's go. It's going to start raining here in a second. It's already raining, and we're going to keep doing our work, you know, because my basic theory here is that I want this dog to be exposed to every single environmental condition and as many types of animals and as many types of people as possible in order to ensure that she has a catalog in her mind of situations where she was initially frightened and nothing bad happened. Right? I mean, that's really all it is. Like, if you have a dog that responds to situations by being violent, just almost every single time, if you trace everything back, the dog's just afraid, right? And the way we get them over being afraid is we increase their confidence and we increase their understanding of what constitutes a real threat in life, okay? Come on, nerds. Now, you see how, like, consistently I'm stopping to talk, and as I'm stopping to talk, these other dogs are like getting in Ruby's space, they're touching her, they're like bullying her out of the way a little bit, you know. One of the mistakes that we make in society now is we think about like all forms of bullying or competition as being bad. When bullying and competition, what it does is it helps develop physical and mental resiliency, right? Now, I'm going to give you just a perfect little example. You can see here that there's water at the end of this slide, right? Now, this little dog's a house dog, lives in a nice little neighborhood. It's never been in any mud, never been in the woods, never been like in any kind of water. And so, as this dog goes down this slide, this water seems like an impassable obstacle, right? Am I going to let her jump off the slide? No, because I want her to understand if she's ever out with me, okay, no matter what it seems like to her, if I'm acting like it's a good idea, then it's a good idea and she can trust me that it's going to work out. So watch. This right here is where you get yourselves in trouble. See that? Can you see her, cameraman? Look at that posture. She is convinced that what I'm fixing to make her do is going to lead to really bad results. Okay? And it's my job to convince her that I'm always right. So look, I'm just going to bring her down here. I'm going to hold her in such a way that she can't jump off this slide. And I'm going to force her to walk through this little puddle of water. And that doesn't seem like a lot to you because you're thinking, oh, it's just a little puddle of water. Well, look at her. Look how she's acting. Okay? To her, it's a big deal. And she's going to have all kinds of responses, but guess what? She's not going to have any success in avoiding this teeny bit of stress. And so by stressing her physically and mentally, I cause what's known as an adaptation, right? She has to adapt to these different physical environments. Look, and I got her through that puddle, and she lived. So that's one more experience that she's had where she thought, just sure as shooting, she was going to die, and she didn't die. And, you know, I'm being a little bit dramatic with that, kind of, you know, when I say that she thought she was going to die, but maybe not. Maybe not all that dramatic, right? Because she gets really afraid. If you could feel her heart right now, I mean, it's right up there at about maximum heart rate, you know. She just gets really worried, okay? Now she's pulling. Again, I'm not going to fuss at her for pulling, but I'm also not going to placate her and stop doing what I'm doing. What I'm working towards here is I'm just working towards establishing a relationship where, like, she has to defer to me. And by teaching the dog to defer to me, the dog will gain confidence, right? Because I will have shown her through thousands of repetitions that I never choose the wrong route. I'm always right, okay? No matter what it looks like from her perspective, if I say she can do it, then she's going to learn to trust me and know that she can do it. Easy. As she gains confidence, one of the ways that we judge whether the dog is getting more confident or not is whether or not, like, they can take treats in situations that normally would have made them afraid. Like, and so right here, as I tried to give her a treat, these other dogs are mobbing her. Right, but if I can get her to take a treat, then that tells me that her confidence is growing, right? And you might say, well, Stonnie, why is that such a surefire sign that a dog's confidence is growing? Well, ask yourself, if you were really nervous, if you thought somebody was getting ready to mug you or kidnap you, would you want to eat a Snickers bar? Of course not, you know? But so, like, from the dog's perspective, when these other dogs are like crowding her when she first came here, she thought they were really trying to get her, trying to harm her. She thought if we were making her do something like this used to be just a multi-minute battle, and now it takes maybe a minute. But she was so nervous she wouldn't eat, and she wouldn't eat for hours after we were out here on the course, right? Okay, but now, come on, nerd, you can do it. Now, she's starting to have just like, instead of minutes and minutes and minutes of resistance, she's starting to have just seconds of resistance. Okay, and then at the end of that resistance, as she complies, as she defers, then like she's able to take the treat, which lets me know that it's not as big a deal as it used to be. Now it's still a big deal, and you can tell by watching her, but another few days and I think she's going to be fine. Very nice. Now another thing that'll happen if you have access to a positive peer group is that your nervous dogs will start to take their social cues from the more confident dogs. And so you'll notice, like if a new dog comes into the environment or a new person comes into the environment, the dog will take their social cues and be more confident. Now, see this dog here, these silver labs, they're always big barkers. And you'll notice, let me see if she does it. Well, you might not be able to hear it on the video, but she's starting to growl and bark, right? You know, because she took her social cues from the other dogs. Now, come on, nerd. That lets you know you got to be very careful about the peer group. Right? Now, see this dog here, a little bit of a barker, came back, stopped barking, say appreciate it. And here's Bruno, black lab. He's super confident. He doesn't bark at anybody. Let's go. And we got the German short-haired back in the way. All right, now get out of the way. But so, like right there, as I was talking, that was a real life example of the dog going from being confident to being worried, right? When we first went to get up on the kayak, the other two dogs were very confident and happy, and then somebody came and they saw them at the gate, and so they barked and ran up there, and Ruby was like, oh my gosh, is somebody here to attack us? You know, those dogs went up there, checked it out, just another client, so they don't care. And they came back, and then as they started to get more confident, Ruby started to get more confident. Now, look, it's going to go back the other way. So what's happening is I have people that are coming to the gate and then going back to their car, and coming to the gate and going back to their car. And every time they come back to the car, to the gate, right, it's like a reset. Now what'll happen, like you see this dog running off and barking at them, what'll happen is that, you know, as the weeks progress and the dogs are more familiar with that situation, then that bark will turn from an alert bark to a happy bark. Like, hey, you here to see me? And if Ruby's still here, we'll make another video, and you'll watch her demeanor change. And sometimes when you're watching these videos, like, you don't just listen to what I say, actually just watch the dog's demeanor, right? And how you know you're making progress is if the dog starts to take its social cues from me and the other dogs. When I'm training, I always try to be the change that I want to see. So like in this case, I'm training a dog that's like not very confident, not very outgoing, so I try to be extremely calm and confident and outgoing, try to really show a lot of confidence. I try to show the dog, look, I'm not asking him to do anything I don't want to do. See, look, I put my hand in there. Like, I know that's cold, right? Look at this posture. After we've been on another 100 adventures, this posture, she'll be completely neutral as it relates to going through water, good, or climbing up brush piles or whatever other type of physical impediments we may encounter. Watch out, nerd. Very good. Come on, up. Very nice. Good dog. Now, I'm always looking for chances to reward any progress towards what I want to see, you know. So, like if I can get just a little bit of leash compliance, if I can get just a little bit of like relaxation through her posture. See how you can't see her tail at all? See how it's tucked under there? What I'd like to see is I'd like to see her, you know, I'd like to see her little tail carried high and wagging. And if I get a chance to make another video with this dog, that's probably what you're going to see, is that her carriage is upright, her ears are forward, she's not struggling against the leash, her tail's up. And look, I mean, look at these dogs. You see how they're forward looking? Like they're like, hey, Stoney, what you got? I'm like, I've got something good. And they're like, well, cool, I'd like to have that. And then this dog's like, hey, what's that noise? And why are those dogs so happy? And I'm like, cause we're having a great time. And she goes, we're having a great time? Well, I thought this was really scary. And I'm like, no, look around. What's there to be scared of? And it's just a matter of getting out and consistently implementing these principles, okay? And the next thing you know, you have a dog that's calm, attentive, and polite. Now here's gonna be the big test. I'm gonna take her off a leash, okay, because she's worked hard. And what I always like to do when a dog's working hard is I like to let them really understand that working hard leads to getting whatever it is that they want. So now in the beginning stages, when I first started using this strategy with this dog, when I take her off the leash, what do you think she wanted? She wanted security and safety. So where would she run? She would run straight to the building and start scratching on the door to go inside. Okay, because she wanted to get where my daughter was, she wanted to get where the cameraman was, and she wanted them to take care of her, okay? Now, as she's starting to gain a little bit of confidence, okay, then sometimes, not every time, but sometimes, like she'll hang out with me and these other dogs. Now, I'm gonna know I'm ready to take her into the pre-adventure area and we're ready to start going hiking and let nature, because I think nature is the best classroom. When we're ready for that stage of training, by watching her demeanor when I let her go. Okay, so I'm going to let her go right now, and I'm going to try to walk out in the field with the other dogs. And the ideal thing that would happen, okay, is that she follows us. She might follow us from a distance. She might be a little worried, but she'll follow us. The not so ideal thing is she goes over there towards the building and she says, hey, it's raining outside. I'm going to go in and see what Charlotte's doing. Okay, so we'll see. Now, here's the thing. If she follows us, that means that tomorrow we can go to the pre-adventure area and start our hiking training. Okay, now once we knock out a little bit of hiking training in the pre-adventure area, then we can go over to my farm, Big Giant Adventure Zone, right? And we can do lots of adventuring. And what the dog's going to start to realize over the course of time is she doesn't have to be the most confident, outgoing dog in the world, okay? She just has to take her social cues from me and the rest of the crew, and we'll take care of her. We're not going to put her in any bad situations, and if any bad situations pop up, we're going to step in and rectify them, right? That will allow her, because she doesn't have a lot of natural confidence, to kind of buddy up off of our confidence, right? And that's really the key with these little dogs like this. They're never going to be supernaturally confident like these black Labrador retrievers, but if you put them around a positive peer group and you let them have a lot of success in life, then they'll take their social cues from you, and as long as you seem confident, you won't have trouble. Okay, so I'm going to let her down, and then I'm going to go out in the field, and we're going to see what happens. Okay, come on, dogs. Hey, dogs! Come on, come on! Very nice. A very nice group of happy, confident mentors. They're good dogs. Is she coming? Now, so what? My van is running, and so that's different to her. And so she's like, I got to go over there and bark at that and investigate it, you know. Come on, dogs! Come on! I'll come back towards you, cameraman. Oh, that's pretty good progress. Oh my gosh, that's pretty good progress. Very nice. Very nice. Oh my gosh, come on, come on. Now you'll notice that the poodle and the Goldendoodle are hanging out back here with the cameraman a little bit more, okay? But we're just gonna keep running around in this field until, you know, until we have some success. Come on, come on! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Come on, come on! Very good dogs! Oh my gosh, they're very good dogs! And you'll notice that like she runs over here like she wants to be involved, okay? And then she runs off. That's because she's in conflict. She wants to interact. She's just a little worried. All right. Well, listen, that's our basic strategy for dealing with scaredy doodles. You know, like put that strategy to work with your own scaredy doodle, and you know, send me an email. Tell me if it worked or not. I'll see y'all next week. Oh my gosh, come on! Come on, dogs! Oh my gosh! Very nice dogs! Ah, that's enough, cameraman. I'm gonna have a heart attack.